Hello. I think that's working. Hello and welcome to the first ever RetroPup Retro Roulette. So this is going to be a little bit shambolic, possibly, but basically the way it's going to work is I have my launch box set up. That's an emulation front end, and what I'm going to do is I have set a smart playlist. So all my games from before the 1st of January 2000. So anything older than 26 years. So the reason I'm using Launchbox is it has a random game button. So I'm very excited to see what it gives us. So it's going to be quite relaxed, quite freeform. I know next to nothing about live streaming. So if there's any issues with audio levels or anything like that, please let me know in the chat. I've got it up here. There. This is the first time I've ever streamed for anyone who's not just friends and family. So hopefully this all goes to plan. The stream will be archived and uploaded to YouTube later tonight whenever I've probably had something to eat. And then we'll go from there. So I am going to try and flip over to... Hey, there we go. So this is my launch box. I only set this up today, so it's not the best looking thing. Yeah, Thanks, guys. So yeah, the intro music was quite low, but that was just because I'd had it quite low, just because it was very kind of blaring. I was setting up mic levels. I've also got a new microphone, so hopefully it will sound better than ever. So what I'm going to do is for this, I'll hit shuffle, I'll open a game. Hopefully it runs. I don't know if it will or not, and then we'll give it a blast about 15-20 minutes, and we'll see if it's any good or not. And hopefully there will be. However, there's quite a lot in here. So the other filter I've added to this is where the play count is 0. So most of these will be games that I have never played at all ever. So this will be my first experience as well. So enough waffling. Let's dive in and see what our first one is. So I think the shortcut is it Control Shift Q or Control Alt Q. It helps if I actually have it selected. Control Alt Q. So Super Shogi for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is a board game. So, is it Shogi? I hate Shogi. So we'll see how I get on with this. Happy Bank Holiday Monday, yeah? I'm aware that for most people, Monday probably not the best day to stream on. But Bank Holiday and I'm off this week, so I thought I'd be productive. So yeah, this is Super Shogi. And Shogi is, for those who aren't aware, it's like a Japanese version of chess. My only experience with Shogi is the Yakuza games. And I hated it in that because I'm no good at it. And I'm probably not going to enjoy this because everything is in Japanese. So if I can actually get to a game, then I probably won't do 20 minutes on this one because I have no idea. It looks quite nice. These are like your pawns, but you can't move them too like you can in other chess. I know they said Western chess, but like when you've got your Russian chess grandmasters, then it's probably not the right thing to call it. I can't see this one lasting very long. I mean, it looks nice. If there are any Japanese speakers who can help point me out. Stratego. I've never actually played Stratego. It's one of those board games I always used to see in like Woolworths when that was a thing years ago. What was the other one I've never played? Is it Backgammon? The one where it's on the board with the little lines and triangles on it? I've never played that. Always looks quite intensive. Oh, I've captured a pawn. Family Guy strategy. Where are you getting Family Guy from, Jess? That's my other half, by the way, in the chat, who is currently in the other room, in bed, as I've basically stolen what was her office and is now our office, as is the compromise of relationships. So I have no idea what I'm doing, so I think we'll put this down to... I mean, it's probably a really good shogi game, but... cozy with a pup. I did notice, so we'd redone this room, so this is the room, so I've got to be able to stop using the rubbish overlay, and we'd basically tidied up a load of stuff. We had this dog bed. Now Maple, for some reason, never goes in a dog bed. She's always sleeping on our bed or before. So just under Jess's desk here, she was like curled up under the desk. I think when Jess works there, that's like a safe space for her, which I thought was a little bit odd. And then before I noticed, so before the stream went live, I just ran downstairs to grab another bottle of water, and I noticed that we'd moved the bed that was there that she never used into the bedroom, and she was fast asleep on it. So hopefully that's somewhere that she actually starts staying, and I can have my pillows back. That's Super Shogi. Probably a great game. Couldn't tell you. So let's try again. What was it? Control Alt Q. Next up, we have Formula 1 Genesis. I don't follow Formula 1, but I know how it works. You race. So I don't think I've played this version. I played some of the PS1 versions with my dad years ago. So I can hear game audio, but it does sound quite quiet, so I'll boost it up a little bit. But I'm just a bit conscious of it drowning me out. Because it does sound very quiet, this one. So as I said at the start of the stream, if there's any issues with the audio levels, then please do let me know. Obviously, if you can't hear the gameplay, I'll boost it. If you're bored of hearing me, I'll just mute myself and you can listen to some lovely 8-bit synths. So we've got some options here. High, medium, low. I don't know what that means. Is that how low to the ground you are? I am a terrible European. So we'll do low. Oh. Oh. Great start. I am playing with an Xbox controller, so I don't know. And with Launchbox, oh wow, with Launchbox, I bought the premium version because it's about £20, and it gives you loads of access to a lot of extra features. One of the features it says it gives you is automatic controller mapping. So I don't know what the controls are going to be for half of these games, and I don't have a Genesis controller. I mean, for a Genesis game, I'd say this looks pretty good. Like, I do love that kind of early Sega era with the nice kind of crunchy pixels. Well, one of my favourite games I used to always play at the on the Genesis. So my history with the Genesis was recently found out I somehow ended up with a Chinese bootleg NES version of Final Fantasy VII. Is it on 4 separate cartridges? I don't know how that'd work. I've probably got Final Fantasy VII in here somewhere. I probably should have filtered out a lot of your 50-hour RPGs, but... So, my experience with the Genesis when I was a kid is... So, my mum grew up in the foster system. And her foster mum, who I call my grandma, she used to have this big foster home. And because my mum grew up in the 70s and 80s, and they didn't, like, have a lot of the modern stuff, so we used to have this little kind of spare room with an old Genesis in it. And every Christmas we'd go around, and me and my brother, between us, probably put hundreds of hours between Road Rash and Streets of Rage. Two of the perhaps greatest games of the Genesis library, or Mega Drive as it's called in the UK. But the Chinese bootleg version of Final Fantasy VII is well enough to have a wiki page. The whole storybook very heavily abridged. I might have it in here somewhere. I honestly don't know. And I don't even know how I'm doing on this game. I don't know if I'm winning. I've overtaken 12 out of 6. My engine's running hot. So I know that F1 is a bit more strategy than your standard racing game, but I don't follow it. I don't know what I'm doing. Came out 2005. Ah. Although I've seen a lot of the younger people have... the things they refer to as retro is upsetting. Like when you're starting to see PS2 and GameCube games and original Xbox games being considered retro, then I had Earthworm Jim as well. Yeah, that was a... Although, no, I think we had that on the PS1 actually. But yeah, hearing a lot of how the games I grew up with are now referred to as retro is tragic. I like this bit. Nice straight road. Ooh. That didn't sound good. I think I broke something. See, I've overtaken 17 other cars. I don't know how many there actually is. That's better than what happened in the last Final Fantasy stream I was watching. Oh god, what happened? Unkslop. Now, I've had a few comments call me Unk. And, like all millennials, I didn't know what it meant, so I had to put it into Urban Dictionary. And apparently, some people say it's like a compliment or an age thing. I'm like, you children with your terrible attention spans. I don't know what you're missing. For any children who do watch this, then this is what games look like when they're not in Fortnite or Roblox. I don't really know what Roblox is. I've seen bits of Roblox. There's so I live in Stockport, which is in Manchester, and Jess and I sometimes, we haven't been for a while, but there's an arcade club in a nearby town called Bury, and I remember once we went there, and it's absolutely great if you get the chance to go. The Bury Arcade Club. There's also one in Leeds, and I think one in Blackpool as well. It's like an old mill building, and they've just basically converted it into like a 4-floor arcade, and they've got everything from your classics to like modern arcade games. Absolutely brilliant. And they've got kind of like a little PC area, and they do food and stuff. So we were sat down having food, having a drink, and I noticed there was all these kids like on Roblox, and I was watching it, and the only way I could describe Roblox from someone who had no experience with it is when you're watching like TV and they have a character playing a video game like Law and Order or something like that, and they don't want to license an official game, so they have like a fake animated game, and the kids just there just mashing buttons and doing things that no one would ever do who's ever held a controller before. That's what Roblox looks like to me. So I'll probably stream Roblox at some point. Will the kids like make the games or something? Am I familiar with Gary's Mod? Yes, I do have Gary's Mod. I played it a lot in 2011, 2010, 2011. And all I used to do for Gary's Mod was I used to get they were like obviously all the Half-Life assets, and I used to get like these big tankers and then pin wheels to them with a little kind of attach tool and then drive them about. And I actually remember the keyboard I had at the time didn't have a numpad, and for some reason it wouldn't let me play without a numpad. So I had to buy off Amazon like a USB numpad. There we go, Formula 1. How do I... 6. Stage 1. There we go. So that is Formula 1 for the Genesis. It's a Formula 1 game. You know what you know what it is. I don't, but there we go. That wasn't bad. I think if you... I do love, what does it say, 1993 it's from. And I do really love that. What's the description there say? This isn't just a fast game. It's the fastest racing game ever on Genesis. Your car could reach a blistering 200 miles per hour. Not with me driving. But yeah, that was surprisingly well made. And I always see, where's Paperboy at? No. So, Jess loves Paperboy. Paperboy is terrible. And the best thing about Paperboy is, going back to the arcade club, is when we go to the arcade club, the actual Paperboy arcade machine has these cool little handlebars. And that's the best bit. The actual game is awful. And neither of us are very good at it, so I don't know why she's so obsessed. There is also, there's a version of Outrun, and which is another, is it Genesis Outrun? I know it was in the arcades, but you actually sit in the car, and the great thing about the Outrun machine is when you turn, the car adjusts, so it feels like you're turning, and oh, it's the best machine there. It's great. We need to go back there. We'll get my mum to watch Maple, and then we'll go. Next game. That didn't work. Right. Oh. Tom and Jerry, the ultimate game of cat and mouse for the NES. Looking at this, there's a load of Tom and Jerry games. I like that. That's like a 8-bit version of, but like a kind of a techie retro gaming version of the Tom and Jerry theme. Yeah, so these overlays, one of the things as part of Launchbox and RetroPup is there's a thing called the Bezel Project, and it's awesome. I'm probably going to do a video about it at some point, just as an aside, because I've kind of covered a lot of things for Android emulation, so a lot of them now is more kind of smaller guides. So I wanted to kind of do most of my emulation before these handhelds was done on PC, so I wanted to kind of cover that. And when I use emulators on PC, I use things like Launchbox or RetroPup, and the Bezel project is basically kind of what it sounds like. So you can install it as a plugin, and it'll download all these custom bezels, so you can have specific system ones if you want like arcade machines, or you can have like these, the overlays for the games. So the goal of the project is to get every game ever to have a bezel. So they can take up quite a lot of space. I don't know how far off they are from achieving that goal, but it makes it look so much better. And especially because I didn't want to just sit there with like I didn't want to sit there on the stream and have like all this kind of wasted space. I wanted it to be quite like a kind of minimal. Like I asked in my Discord, obviously I can see the chat, you guys who are chatting can see the chat, but when this gets archived, people won't be able to see the chat. And one thing that I do find quite frustrating about that to an extent is when I don't like having chat visible, because I find it quite distracting for a lot of things. I am no good at this. Killed Jerry twice. But so when you've got the kind of the chat kind of racing through, especially on the more popular streams, that's kind of annoying. But on the flip side is when people refer to something that's in chat, and obviously if you watch it on demand, you have no context for what it could be. So I've tried to get into, but it's like when I do stand up occasionally. I've been on a bit of a break from it for now, but I'll be going back to it in a couple of months. Where am I going? Oh, you can climb up these, probably. Ah, there we go. So, oh, Jerry. What was it? Oh, game over. Right, we'll try that again. So yeah, so when doing stand-up and you tend to experience it is when someone will chat to the crowd, like a comic will chat to the crowd, and the person they're talking to will say something, and people will probably laugh, or it'll set up something for like a little funny interaction. But if you're sat at the back and you don't hear it, you kind of miss it, and it's kind of similar. It's like, well, I don't know what's going on, so you kind of lose the context of it a lot. And as someone who I don't tend to watch a lot of live streams, like, I occasionally watch some of the Giant Bomb streams just because I've been watching those since I was at university, like 15 years ago. But outside of that, I'm not a big streamer. Like, my brother tried to get me into it a while ago, but he's into like League of Legends and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have the patience for that kind of thing. It's not my scene at all. And a lot of the popular streams seem to be like all kind of esportsy and a lot of like people playing online, and I'm like, never been into that. The most online game I've played was Factorial. Factorial servers are very underrated. And I think because it's a different pace as well. Because I saw when I was looking at overlays and things like that. Hi Beth, love you too. So when I was looking at things to put as part of the stream, a lot of them that came up were things like, oh, Valorant and what's the one, Arc Raiders and stuff like that. And I've not played any of them. I'll tell you what I did play. Yeah, and I think I don't mind having a competitive game with friends, but when it's and how serious people take it, I'm like, it's just not something that interests me as much. But yeah, so I was searching for all these games and everything, and I hate the way esports is marketed. I hate when you see all the branded, appealing to the elite gamers, and every time I like start a job or like you're chatting to people and they find out, like, oh, you play games, what do you play? And I'm like, I never know what to say, because I play all sorts. Like, I play a lot of retro games. I like kind of, like I said, I love Factorial, like city building games. Sometimes I like getting stuck into a story. But a lot of people say, like, oh, I play FIFA, I play Call of Duty, and it's like, I am terrible at both of those. I don't mind Call of Duty, I'm terrible at FIFA. Just not into football. So, just not very sporty. This game is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Where's Tom? This has been very Jerry heavy currently. Not a huge fan of the artwork for this one either, because some of the sprites, like the little pins, what is it? I don't know. They're like balloons or balls, water drops. I genuinely no idea what they are. But some of them, so with these jars, I can't stand on them, but it looks like I should be able to. And then the little pins on the floor that I kept stepping on, they were hurting me, but they don't look like I should be able to. Like, I can run past these screws, but it looks like I should have to jump over them. Why does that hurt me? Mario, it is not. I think the only Tom and Jerry game I ever played was on the PS1. There was Mousetrap or something, which is kind of like Spy versus Spy. If you ever played that, where you basically have to lay traps for another player. Oh my god, I am terrible at this. This is. I don't like the blank, bewildered look on that spider. He just looks so. Yeah, that's. It feels like it's the only kind of environment mechanic is, oh, when you run past the spider web, it slows you down. It's like these pins here hurt you, but they look like they should be part of the background. And there's steam. So, I think we'll leave that one there because it's just doing me head in. So what was that? Tom and Jerry? The ultimate game of cat and mouse. It wasn't. It was the ultimate game of mouse and spider. So, not one I'd recommend. Leave that one in the 90s. Yeah, correct. Was that first of... I tried to play Gex from PS1 recently and was so bad at it. Easy when you're a kid. So, recently, I play a lot of... I love retro achievements. And I recently got all the achievements for Jackie Chan's Stuntmaster. When I was a kid, I could do that game blindfolded. It took me so long. I don't know if it's age and my reflexes have slowed, but I feel like I've lost the plot. That came out in 1991. See, it says 1st of the 12th. I don't know if that's the 1st of December or the 12th of January. Was that when did the film come out? There was a Tom and Jerry movie with Richard Kind in it, who pops up in all sorts of stuff. And what was her name? Some voice actress. I think she passed away years ago. I can't remember, but yeah, I remember really, really liking it as a kid, and then watching it as a teenager, thinking this is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. So it's amazing how your tastes change. What was it? Control-Alt-Q. Super F1 Hero. Now, I'm going to break my own rules a little bit. I'm going to skip this one, because not only is it an F1 game, it's also a Japanese game, so I don't know how far I'd get. Tag Team Wrestling. A lot of sports on this one. Although Data East, I think they did do quite a lot. 86, so this is really retro. So, Tag Team Wrestling for the NES. I'm a big wrestling fan, so we'll see how the wrestling games of yore were... how they were. Oh, I love this already. Oh. Oh, no. So I'm the dude with the dark hair who looks like the most generic creator wrestler you've ever seen. When they remade Crash Bandicoot, they changed the foot hitbox so it was harder. Yes, they did. It was so annoying. In the original Crash Bandicoot on PS1, because the way you used to do hitboxes in games was because you didn't have a lot of memory or a lot of space. You tend to just be big blocks or boxes. Whereas because of graphics technology and you could have all these polygons, they could really tailor the hitbox to a character's feet and make it the perfect shape. Which, well, that was a very short match. And that was probably the stupidest thing they could have done. My character looks like Drew McIntyre. He does, if Drew McIntyre was terrible. He's got no beard, though. Right, so that's punch. And the other button doesn't do anything. Oh. His Irish ripped me off the ropes and then a missile dropkick. Why is he red? Have I tagged out? Oh, now I'm controlling this luchador guy, who kind of looks like Andre the Giant wearing a Rey Mysterio mask. The audience on this is hilarious. Yeah, not the most diverse crowd. You can tell this is definitely like classic wrestling. Oh, he's going to get counted out. Oh, he was teasing. You've got to build... You've got to build anticipation in wrestling. It's all about storytelling. A lot of people think it's about the moves and the fighting. No, it's always the story. Why is it you just kicking me in the shins? This would be... Dave Meltzer would not be kind on this match. That referee is balding. Strong Bads. Isn't Strong Bad a like an internet like an internet thing? Wrestling is basically just buff people's soap opera. It really is, and because I'm really behind on WWE and stuff, but it is about the story. Hello to Olivia6717. And as much as I like a lot of the work rate wrestlers, they call them, like the fancy moves and stuff, and it's cool, but a lot of the matches it's hard to get invested in, especially like I like a lot of what AEW does. There's some great guys there, guys like Will Ospreay, who is one of the most athletic wrestlers of all time, and he is an incredible athlete, but I find that a lot of his matches, and a lot of matches from a lot of people, especially AEW and the black and gold era of NXT, which was fantastic, is they all go on a bit too long. Like, they reach this... Oh, it's a 20 count in a Japanese wrestling, isn't it? They kind of reach this, like, natural climax, and it's like, oh, you should go for the pin. And then they don't go for the pin. And then it's just, like, finisher after finisher after finisher, and then it's like, oh, then it's the pin, and it's just... If you'd have just cut it by a minute, that could have been awesome. The guy I want to follow in AEW doesn't get much work. Who is that? I don't know, I haven't watched it properly, but we went to the first Wembley show, me and Dress the Butcher. Love the Butcher, and if you've seen one of the t-shirts that I wear, you'll know exactly why I love the Butcher. And if you don't, the Butcher is also known as Andy Williams, and I met him... When did I meet him? 2008, when he was in my favourite band, one of the greatest bands of all time, and that's Every Time I Die. Rest in peace. And I had tickets to go see them again, and unfortunately, the singer Keith, I met him as well, and he was sound. That was a few years ago, but unfortunately, people have issues, and sometimes those issues escalate, and things are said, and sometimes people sit in bathtubs telling people they're fine. It's all very, very weird, but there was a lot of kind of bad blood at the end, and it's a shame because in terms of heavy music and hardcore, they are the best. Without a shadow of a doubt. They were awesome. Like, I saw them twice. I saw them once in 2008, which is when I met Andy. That was at the Manchester Academy 3, which is this tiny venue. It's probably not much bigger than this bedroom, so that was great. And then I saw him again in 2017, and that was at the Academy 2, which is in the same building, just a different room. I think the tickets I had to see them when they cancelled was the Academy 1. So it's like, over the years, they'd finally moved up. They finally made it to the biggest room, and then kaput. And I'm especially gutted about that one, because there's another band that I really wanted to see who was supporting them, and that's the Bronx, who are another kind of, like, New York hardcore band. They ain't no Bowling for Soup. Jess is obsessed with Bowling for Soup. They're good. They are good, so I can't really say anything about them. So that's tag team wrestling for the NES. I'm terrible at that, but I think of the games I've played so far, that was kind of more of what I was expecting to play, rather than Japanese chess. And oh my god, I've nearly shut down my computer. Don't do that. I don't know how I managed to trigger that from a controller, so I'll stuck in 1985. I wish. Oh, Maple's coming. I don't know if you can see. Maple is now under the desk chair. You okay under there? Come over here. Come here. I've not got any treats, so she's going to ignore me. I'll adjust slightly so I can keep an eye on her on the screen. Oh. Next game. Kishu Patchy Slot Fun. I like pachinko. Go on, we'll have a blast. Time to invest in dog cam already. That's what I guess. You know what? I was saying to Jess this the other day. I had an idea. So, I have a Raspberry Pi. And I don't really use it. It's here, actually. It's got a little case for it and everything. I set it up as an emulator a while ago. But didn't really use it much. I had an idea to... Hi, Pirate, how you doing? I had an idea to basically rig it up to... Because I think you can get a separate camera for the Pi, and then have it, and have like a little kind of maple cam, if you stayed in a bed. And then I wanted to build a like a treat dispenser. And the idea was, and this is something that I'm definitely still going to look into. So the idea was that whenever someone donates or subscribes or whatever, I want to trigger a webhook, which will trigger the treat dispenser, so people can give Maple treats directly. So I was going to put some safeguards in, obviously, because I don't want to get in too chunky. So there'd be like a timeout and things like that on it, or go into a queue. But I thought that was a cool little idea. So, and I've seen online people doing automated treat dispensers with Raspberry Pis. So I just need to put some time aside and find a way to combine the two, because I'm technical, but hardware I'm not the best at, especially when it comes to soldering and things like that. So we'll that was an idea I had. So yeah, dog cam will be coming. So what game's this? I've already forgotten. I was too busy waffling. So it was like a patchy slot one. So, oh wow, I really love really detailed sprites in classic games. This guy's got 5 o'clock shadow. He looks like a Japanese salaryman. Oop. I don't. I can move, but none of my buttons want to. Whoa. Okay, so that was a dud. A lot of the animal channels do that. That is cool, and I have seen some animal channels. There was one me and Jess found recently, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And it's this dude who races pigs. And it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And what was one of the notorious pig? Was it Notorious Pig? Piggy Smalls. That's what he was called, Piggy Smalls. I could not breathe. I was laughing so hard. Notorious Pig, which also would have worked. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another filter to this. This is my first stream. Very kind of, very, very chill. Do I have a region? We'll do region is not equal to Japan. Just because I don't know what happened there, but I wasn't able to actually start the game because I couldn't read what it was telling me. And the buttons didn't seem to do too much. That's taken us down to 5,930 games. Let's go up to the top. And I think one thing I'm going to do as well is I was looking at the Stream Decks, and I'm going to probably invest in one, and then also rig up a button to do this, so I don't have to keep trying to remember what the keyboard shortcut is. Zombie with an I on the Commodore Amiga. The Amiga was the first console I ever had. I wonder if there's any relation to the zombie film. Amiga Workbench. Now, I do remember with the Amiga that we had. Oh. Yeah, this is what I remember. Is some of them you have to have passcodes and things like that for. This. Thank you for being along for the journey as you see me struggle. So anytime you're watching any of my videos about setting up emulators or setting up retro consoles, and you're going, oh, I can't seem to get this right. I'm struggling a bit. Now the shoe's on the other foot. So this is what it looks like. I remember as well I'll just close out of this. The Amiga we had, it was my dad's, and I remember there was a wheel with it, like a color wheel, and part of the anti-copy protection was, I think there was like one of those CNI pictures, and you had to put the color wheel on and turn it a certain way that it'd tell you, and that'd give you a code, and that's how you entered the code. So as much as I hate kind of DRM and things like that, and a lot of overzealous copyright protection, seeing how creative some companies can get always amazes me. My favorite example is in the Leisure Suit Larry games, an old point-and-click adventure game for I don't even know what console it came out on. And it was basically it's aimed at adults, essentially. So it had this kind of age restriction. And the way you had to prove your age is it would ask you American trivia about things like baseball teams and presidents, not presidents. And it's a genius idea, but as someone who I tried to play it a few years ago, I got the it's like a Leisure Suit Larry classic Steam pack or so. It was like a $5 for like loads of games, and I had to look up the answers. I was about 27 at the time, but I've never been to America, and my knowledge of US history is minimal, and that's being polite. But in terms of creativity for an anti-copyright or a pro-copyright section, kudos. Turok on the Game Boy, Battle of the Bionosaurs. I've only ever played one Turok game, and I think it was on the N64. I do love that overlay, though. I hope the Game Boy games do look okay on this, because they seem to look alright. Hi, Yat. Should have said hi before. I think it's Yat, or is it Wyatt? I don't know how to pronounce it. Ooh, we got some. What options do we have? Music on, difficulty medium. Battle of the Bionosaurs sounds like a cheesy power metal album. It does. If Dio came out with Battle of the Bionosaurs, I'd buy it. We got music on. Hopefully it's not copyrighted. I don't think there's a streamer mode on this. Difficulty medium, password. The first way, rounds with rat. Yeah. Fair. I'll probably forget that, and then we'll have this exact conversation in my next stream. But thanks for clarifying. Right, so B is jump. A is stab. If it did have strength, they were ahead of the time. I feel like I'm sure they just announced a new Turok game, because it was kind of it was like a kind of popular series at one time, and then it just absolutely vanished. I'm sure they did a 64 was the Turok Evolution. You could do what one person did and pronounce it yeah te te te, which is actually what Kanye West's rebranded himself as. Now he's apologised. It was a tiny dinosaur. It was a dinosaur. Oh. Can swim. That swimming animation. How cool's that? On the Game Boy? I love that swimming animation. And also the soundtrack is absolutely banging. I hope it's loud enough, by the way. Never heard of Turok before. It's out on the 64. I think N64 was the main one I knew, but I'm sure there was some PC games. Transition Walking into the Cave was good too. Like the original Game Boy, like I never had an original game. I had a Game Boy Color, but at the time, the fact that you could get Game Boy ports like this that looked pretty crisp, and to have that many frames in an animation, even in the running animation, the way his bandana like kind of sways. I love stuff like that. I always found that like creativity comes from limitation. Like I used to play drums years ago, and then I remember I never had official lessons, but there was like a drum tutor at the high school that I couldn't afford, and he always say that like the best drummers, like it's the guys like Neil Peart and that are great from Rush, and Danny Carey from Tool. Danny Carey's awesome. Neil Peart's great, and they have a million different drums. We said the best drummers, the ones they have less drums, or fewer drums if you're a grammar Nazi, which he was. And he said that when you give someone less and make them do more with it, that's where creativity flourishes. Animations around me, Prince of Persia. Having a good animation clown and such like. Yeah, on the Best viewers, streamboot.live, remove the space. I'm going to assume that is my first spam. Sweet. Right. We are here live. I'm dealing with a spam bot. Just delete the message. Can I do that from here? Well, considering I just ban, not delete. And now I'm officially a streamer. Congratulations. Yep. I'm handing me a notice on, well, not Monday, because that's today. How do I... Oh, in OBS at the moment, how do I get rid of that bot message? All we do from the Twitch side. Right. Let me load up a browser, and I'll do it from the Twitch side. Oh my god. So we're learning on the fly today, guys. OBS, you probably have to do ban name. I think I have got... so I've got the Stream Elements bot. Has that got a ban command? This is going to end up going from a series where I play retro games to a series where I troubleshoot live on air. Right, chatbot, chat command. Have I got ban? There's loads of stuff about emotes and stuff like that. I just want to ban someone. Doesn't look like there is. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment, guys. The videos, when they get uploaded, they'll be going on as is. There won't be any editing. Where is... Didn't create a dashboard? How do I access the chat panel? Just go to your channel. Oh yeah. I don't want to pin it, I want to... Right, ban. Ban. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Pin the first ever spam bot. Pin the first ever spam bot. Like a graveyard. Can I remove the message as well? Or we'll report. We're submitting this report for violence or gore. I verified the information filed is truthful. Yeah, block. There we go. I think, has that removed the message from the... Yeah, it looks like it has. Right, I'm going to close that window now because it's doing my head in. I'm going to see if there's a plugin where I can do that from the OBS side. Anyway, back to games. Turok's great. Like, I'm really enjoying this. Considering that when I first had the idea for this stream, I was like, oh, I'll probably do like 15-20 minutes on each game, just get kind of like a rough overview for it. See if it's any good. Because one of the things that kind of comes up a lot in discussions around a lot of the retro handhelds and that I cover is things like choice paralysis. And it can be true. Oh no, that death animation. There was so many more frames than there needed to be, but all welcome. Use a pop-out of chat window for now. Ah, I will enable that. Thank you, Yat. I remembered. I'm going to have to invest in a third monitor at this point. So I tried to right-click the name in OBS, and it just... I can refresh, I can mute, But I can't do anything else, unfortunately. But like I said, I wanted to have a productive week off. And died again. Because one thing that I want to start looking at in terms of the videos, Eribot. I'll definitely be going through these chat blogs and implementing a lot of these things. But yeah, in terms of video creation at the moment, obviously the channel's done really well since I started in January. Started using it properly, and is my chat still active? There we go. Or has it logged me into chat? Dream Elements chat module. Ah, right, okay. I'll have a proper play around with this already. Because I had a bit of a play around already, and I need to have a proper play around with it. Oh, that was a hand then. It was swimming in the thing. But yeah, in terms of the videos, I wanted to kind of do fewer, but kind of better. Because I'm aware that, obviously, when I first started, I was putting out tons. Burnout is a real thing, and if you've ever experienced it, it can kind of suck. That's kind of what inspired the idea for the stream. Because I thought if I could do something regular and build, I'm terrible at this. If I could do something regular and put out content that way, and do something where I can just kind of riff and just hang out and chat without having to kind of do loads of planning and worry about, okay, like, so there's for example, there's a new front end that's come out called Cannoli that I was testing yesterday. What was that? And it's inspired by MinUI, which if you've used that on any other devices, you'll be familiar with it. I've used it on the, I think, did I use MinUI on the one I'd set up for my nephew? I think I've used it on a few handhelds before, and it's great, and it's very minimalist. And I thought, like, and I had a quick blast of it, and it was relatively simple enough to set up. There were some issues I had with it, and then I wanted to kind of do a video about it, but then there was things like I couldn't get PS2 games to boot because the app ID was wrong, and obviously with how I'm terrible at this, with how popular a lot of this scene is getting at the moment. Same Pip, yeah. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, yep, shame on me again. That's my own fault. It's quite a big jump, to be fair. Love that tiny dinosaur. Yeah, so there was just the front end I was trying, because of how popular the retro scene, the emulation scene's getting, and it's growing, and there's all these apps coming up. It didn't feel fair to put out a video for the sake of it for something which is just is still quite new, and obviously I think I'll do that. Climb that animation was great. Oh, White is back. John Turok or something. These handy dinosaurs. But yeah, it didn't feel fair to do a video on something that wasn't fully finished, especially when so I'd filed, I think, 3 or 4 GitHub tickets, because there was things like the button hints at the corner when it said, oh, press B to go back. I was pressing B and it wasn't working, but if I pressed A, it's like the buttons were kind of reversed, even though I'd remapped them. And then, like I said, it was trying to point to Nether SX2, the PS2 emulator. Nether SX2, for those of you who aren't aware, is a continuation of Ether SX2. And the guy who made Cannoli was referring to the Ether version, not the Nether version. Oh, sorry, it's still called Ether, even though it's Nether. So he was referring to Nether. So I just filed a ticket. But it's quite an interesting front end, and it is something that is very different to something like Cocoon, for example. Although I have been using Cocoon as a daily driver on the Thor for a couple of weeks now, and I have been really enjoying it. So outside of ESD, it's probably my second favourite at this point. Oh, she's off. Bye, pup. But yeah, so in terms of output, like, obviously I'd like some consistency with like this sort of thing and having like uploads and things like that, because it's quite fascinating in a way, because I've been on Reddit a lot and I've seen a lot of kind of, there's the YouTubers subreddit and then there's the partnered YouTubers subreddit, and there's people discussing their kind of processes, and for the YouTubers one, it was quite eye-opening how lucky I've been with this channel, because there was, I remember seeing tons of posts and it's like, oh, I've spent 3 hours doing this thumbnail, and like I've spent ages writing this script, and I've got 10 views, and I'm like, oh god. I was like, my thumbnails probably take 5 minutes on Canva, and I don't write a script. Like I did try and do some scripted intros originally, but I think that with this kind of the kind of videos I do, I don't think they really need it. Like, unless I make sure I'm confident enough for the most part to know what I'm talking about, which is always handy because I don't want to misspeak. Some people need when they get a bit rambly. Now I am guilty of that, and I do ramble, but I'm hoping that with a background in improv and a background in comedy, it's like, yeah, it's a ramble, but you're along for the journey, not the destination. And I remember seeing a video, a comment on, I'd done the Odin video, and that was about, it was a full setup guide, and it was, what, 2.5 hours long, I think it was. It took me about 7 hours to make, with breaks in between, and I was fried by the end of it. So I'd uploaded it, edited it. So luckily for me, the editing process is very, very simple. This same pit, again, it's very hard to concentrate and talk at the same time, but you're not here to see me beat these games, I hope. It'll be a long stream if you are. So my editing process is quite simple, because a lot of it's just stitching clips together. I don't need anything too fancy. I hate intros that are too long and blaring music, so it's in and out, very nice and simple. So I can spend more time rambling. And I'd posted in the, I think it was one of the subreddits. It was either the Odin 3 one or the SBC gaming one, which is probably kind of the main sub for this sort of thing. And one of the first comments was like, it's 2.5 hours long. Like, how does this one compare to like Russ's from Retro Game Core? And it probably wasn't meant like that, but sometimes you read a comment and you add a voice to it. And I'd said, like, oh, he's much more handsome. Which, reading it back, am I talking about me or am I talking about Russ? Who knows? Although he does look like he probably could be my dad. But it's cool to see, like, being as part of the niche as well, and seeing the other creators in the niche, because I've seen, and in these YouTube videos, there was all these people were talking, oh, you're slaving over these thumbnails, you're coming up with all these scripts. It's like, oh, I make funny gaming content, and it's like, yeah, so does you and 10 million other people. And like, that's not to say yours is bad. It's just it's an ocean. Whereas at least with the retro and the emulation stuff, it's more of a niche, and it kind of allowed me to stand out a little bit more. And like, I'd been into the emulation game for years. Then I started getting into it more when I bought a Steam Deck during COVID. I was doing some temp work before I got offered a permanent role with the job I was doing temp work for. And if you've ever done temp work, then you'll know that the money can be pretty good. So I treated myself to a Steam Deck, and I was watching, I think, Fan the Deck. And then through that, the algorithm pushed me onto Russ from Retro Game Core, and then I ended up buying a few of the Ambinic devices just because they were cheap, and I started getting into them. And then, I've told this story before, but I'd ordered the Odin. I thought, oh, what a nice, powerful one. And then ended up seeing the Thor a lot, and I was like, actually, I really want the Thor. And then, I think with doing guides and doing tutorials, like, I see one thing, and I know I've got a reputation for rambling. I'm doing it now. But one thing I do notice is, I saw a thing years ago, and it said that there's something's a law, one of these little kind of meme things. You can cut off the first 10% of a YouTube video and miss nothing. And that's true for mine, and for some of the ones I've seen, it's certainly way more true. But I did feel extremely lucky when people are like, oh, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years and I've got 100 subs, and I'm like, well done, good on you. Like, I'm not gonna put anyone else down, but it does make you realise how lucky you are to have built, and even you guys that are watching the stream, it's a little community's starting to grow, and it's kind of cool, because I'm not, like, I've never been one to watch streaming and to, like I said, and then Discord especially, I have had to learn, and still learning, because it's so confusing. And there's so many options, and as someone who came through your original forums and IRC and things like that, and I don't like that it's kind of become the de facto. And someone did comment the other day, I think it was one of my videos, about how I'd mentioned about joining the Discord, and they were like, oh, that was it. Someone had asked for a video, and I tried to plug the Discord a bit, and I just said, oh, if you want, just join the Discord and post in the video requests, just because it allows me to keep things a bit more organised. And someone had commented and said, like, oh, I don't like when people force us to join these social networks that people are against. And I was like, I know there was the age verification controversy and stuff like that, and I don't agree with it, but it's one of those, you've kind of got to play the game a little bit. That's where the people are. Like YouTube thumbnails. I hate putting my face on thumbnails, unless I can have a bit of fun with it, like I've done with a couple of them. But for the most part, you do feel a bit cringy, you do feel a bit self-conscious. But then it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because it's like people don't click on them if it's not an interesting enough thumbnail. You have to catch people's attention. So I don't want to do anything too much. So I did the one of me in drag, as it were, which was the way I did that one was I'd uploaded a photo of me to ChatGPT and asked it to yassify it. And for everyone's hatred of AI, that's probably the best result I've ever got out of an AI image. I was like, okay, it's done a really good job. And then the Tony Hawk's American Wasteland one I really liked as well, just because I kind of, why did I do that? So yeah, I'd kind of had that one as well, and I liked having fun with it. Yeah, some people are super against Discord. I used to be super, not super against it. So I just didn't like how, for things like Patreon, oh, you can get a link to our Discord, our premium Discord, or this, and it's like this community. And like I mentioned before in my own Discord about I prefer topic-driven things. Like one of the things I used to use all the time, and it devastates me that they're gone, is if you've ever used IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, they used to have little forums for every film and every TV show, and it was great because there's this, I think with Discord and with these kind of chat first apps, there's a lot of potential things that get missed over time, and it was it's people like almost scared to necro a thread, and it's like, whereas with these forums, these IMDb ones, there'd be posts 10-15 years apart, and then the person who originally set up the thread to come back and just start chatting about a movie again. And like, I love that kind of, I watch a ton of classic movies. I don't watch a load of new ones. Like one that we've been me and Jess been watching recently is there's a show on Shudder that I've had to acquire through other means. It's called The Last Drive-In, and there's a horror host called Joe Bob Briggs, and he's been doing it since the 80s. But what he does is he presents a horror movie. So he introduces the film. He's got Darcy is like sidekick. He introduces the film's full of facts. He's funny. There's interesting stories about the production, things like that. And you watch the film, and there's these like a 20-minute bit, and then there's a little bit of an interlude with some updates and discussions and stuff, and it's cool. But a lot of the films are if there's any Letterboxd users out there, feel free to follow me on Letterboxd. It's my Alex Won't Cook on there, I think. And it's all my Letterboxd movies are really obscure, like horror from the 70s. And I mean obscure, because I know Jess had posted in the horror thread when I had that, or the movie thread when I had that. And so many people, when I'm one of those nerds where when people say, "Oh, I love horror," and I go, "Oh, what kind of movies do you like?" And they go, "Oh, I really like The Conjuring." And I go, "Right, end of conversation." I'm a real, and Jess will tell you, like she loves The Conjuring. She likes the stuff I like, but I annoy her when I get opinionated about stuff. I think people should get opinionated about stuff, even if you disagree with someone. I hate when an app's tech support is on Discord. It seems like a good way to hide the information away from the internet and lose it once a server owner loses interest. Yeah, so that's one of my main issues with something like Discord, is because there's no... As much as people dislike Reddit, and Reddit has tons and tons of issues, most of the time, I was doing it today, if I have a question, or I need some technical assistance, and I Google it, Reddit's the first thing that comes up. Discord doesn't come up, and you end up having to jump through all these hoops. So I think the main issue for me with Discord, as much as I've kind of started to not learn to love it as such, but learn to kind of appreciate what it is I think that, like a lot of things, especially now with things like AI, it's not being used in the right way, or it's not been marketed to the right people. Because I think if like for me and building a small YouTube community, like it's not meant to be it's not a one-stop app tech support. It's if you watch my videos and you've got a little bit more question, or you need me to elaborate or talk you through something, the Discord's probably the best place to reach me, because with YouTube comments and as the channel's growing, I think what am I, 3,800 I think at the moment. Oh no, it's really hard to kind of keep track, and especially when if I say something, if someone asks a question and I ask them a question in return, I don't get an update when they reply to the original question. So there's days go by, and then there's sometimes where there's been weeks and I've kind of gone, oh, I've never replied to that. I'm like, do I reply now? Is it a bit weird? Has he sorted it? But I'm not building these apps. I'm just helping people out, so it's a good way to reach me. But I think we'll give Torok a break now, because I'm not very good at it. What a game! This is great. This is the first good game we've played. I did like the wrestling one, but this is great. Why can't I click? No, I'm not clicking it. Cool. There we go. What time? Oh, feels like I've been going for ages. Was that the same hole the third time? Probably. And third is probably a conservative estimate. I think it's probably about the sixth. I think one of the things I'm going to have to learn, and it's an underrated skill, is to play and talk at the same time. So Kashika is my brother, by the way. So if you see him in the Discord, or you see him popping up here insulting me, I did text him an hour and a half ago to say, oh, I'm streaming. And he didn't reply. So thanks, Matt. I was asleep on a bank holiday Monday. Next up, we have... Oh, so what I'll do is I'll filter out the Amiga games, because I need to look, because I don't know... I know people have a lot of Amiga issues. Although, how many Time Runners games are Time Runners 26? Platform is... doesn't contain Amiga. There we go. What are we on now? 3,655 games. And we're going to do them all on this one stream. Can you imagine? Be here for years. Jeopardy. Oh, this could be a good one. So we don't really have Jeopardy in the UK. I think did they do one with Stephen Fry recently? And I love it. And a friend of ours, Al, I was watching it. I think they put it on Netflix for a bit with Was it Alex Trebek? Is that the guy? Did he pass away a few years ago? Very sad. He had cancer or something. And they put it on Netflix for a bit, or rather in the new version. And I knew the gimmick. You have to answer it like a question. And but we were sat there, and my friend, I was like, I don't understand. This is the stupidest gimmick. Why not just say the answer? And I was like, well, that's what every other quiz show does. Play against the computer. Right. So as this is... Oh, do I have to be that guy? I mean, I know I'm... unk, or whatever the kids say about people my age, but that's a bit too unk. Oh, on a press select, I can... Anyone looks vaguely like me? There's no order to this, it's just shuffling. Is that Elaine from Seinfeld? Let's go as Elaine from Seinfeld. There we go.
Here are the categories.
Cards. The Bible. Wouldn't do very well on that. Word origins. Ooh. Corporate America. For the kids, the 1950s. If you want a different set of categories, press the select button now. No, we're going to stick with them. Give me cards for 100, please, Alex. That's what they say. This VP, who was resigned in 1973, was the Jack of Spades in a deck called Politicards. VP who resigned in 1973. I don't even know who was president in 1973. Nixon? Vero T. Agnew. I'd never have got that. Give me cards for 200, please, Alex. With no wild cards in use, the best hand you can get in poker is the Royal Flush. Oh, I've got to spell it out. I'm here all day. That's his flush. How do I... Oh, B. Imagine if this is how game shows actually worked, where you had to manually type in the answer. Hey, there we go. Give me cards for 300. Value of face cards when scoring Gin Rummy. I've never played Gin Rummy. In Blackjack, it's 10. I'm just going to guess 10. Oh, the lucky guess.
The answer is...
You don't want 12 of these in the game of hearts. Hearts? Clubs? I don't know. Right, again. I am sick at Jeopardy. Bridge developed from this game. Oh, no. I don't know why I didn't know the answer. Bridge developed from... Bridge is the one you put... Old people play it, don't they? They put the cards on. I'm going to put Solitaire. Because that's a card game I've heard of. I can't believe they've put all the keys on the same row. Oh. Well, it wasn't Solitaire. What is Whist? I don't know what that is. The only time I've heard of Whist is in the League of Gentlemen. When they do the Go Johnny Go 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 Go. Reproduction is famous ship sailed from Plymouth to England to Massachusetts in 7. Titanic. Mike. The Mayflower. Heard of it. Couldn't tell you what it is. Didn't Amiga have a mouse and keyboard? Why can't you type the answers? Oh, so this isn't the Amiga, this is the SNES. Let's find for a Senate committee in 1957. Teamster President Dave Beck invoked this some 80 times. The 25th Amendment. Just pure guessing. Or was it filibuster? Why can't I? Oh, right, I was pressing there. I'm going to say filibuster. because it's a word I've heard of, and it's a word I like. Oh no, so I was removing the Amiga games because a lot of the Amiga games have the copyright protection on, and I've never used the Amiga core for RetroArch, so I need to have a play around with it before. So for now, I've just reduced the category a bit. Fifth Amendment. Oh, the fifth. Pleading the fifth. God, I'm British. This isn't fair.
The answer is
In December 1987, the Bear Brothers of Colorado bought this famous cookie company, Oreo. I'm gonna say Oreo. Oh, what the? Oh, is it famous Amos? Famous Amos? Famous Amos. I don't actually know what a famous Amos cookie is. I just remember a Patton Oswalt bit from about 20 years ago.
the answer is
This type of stock gets priority in receiving dividends, but often lacks voting rights. I've not a clue. Preferred? So I never like quiz games on computers because I always feel that like
the answer is
the word for bullfighter comes from the Spanish word for to kill, matador. The computer knows what the answers are. It's like input reading in fighting games. If it wanted to. Hang on, matador. I'm too young for this. I'm too young for this. $100. Gonna get knocked out in the first round here. Let's go for the kids.
Answer is
Name shared by prepubescent pan and pickled pecker. There. Name shared by prepubescent. Oh, that's not fair. I was trying to read the question. Peter Piper. What is question marks? Nah, you're old. My brother's 3 years younger than me, by the way. Liz. This is a fix. This isn't fair. I can't believe Mike buzzed in and then didn't know the answer. Didn't even try and guess. The Bible.
the answer is
This group is probably best known for the Bibles in places in Gideon's. Is it the Gideon's Bible you get in hotel rooms? Oh, press start. I'd be terrible on Jeopardy, me. I know you get to like write your answers down, but my handwriting's terrible. It was Gideon's. That should have been my $100.
the answer is
Slang word bodacious was created by in bold and audacious. I did not know that that's where it came from. Audacious. Oh, right. So that's the thing with like quiz games as well, is I feel like they could probably penalise your spelling,
the
which isn't
answer
fair.
is
He cremated Jemima Puddle Duck and Mrs. Tiggy Winkle as well as Peter Rabbit. Oh, created, not cremated. Beatrix Potter. Beatrix Potter? Yes, to get this. Beatrix. I always wonder with quiz games as well if there's like how forgiving are they? Like if I misspelled a name or if I just put Beatrix, would that still work? I'm right. Or is it really loose where it's like, he's be put a B, let him have it. The last word of the New Testament. End? Bye. Like and subscribe. Amen. I probably could have guessed that.
The answer is
April 1955, for the first time in 33 years of publication, Reader's Digest carried these. No advertisements. No. Didn't show that on Mad Men. Or did they? No, it was 60s,
the answer
wasn't it?
is
The French call her Le Petit Chaperon Rouge. The little Red Riding Hood. Why? Why is it everything that's so long to type? I hope this is right, because this is taking a lot of time. I couldn't have like a normal layered keyboard for
the
the
answer
kids.
is
Animal that went both ways in Doctor Dolittle. Went both ways? Push me, pull you. Oh, very funny. Not the most exciting game, these quiz games, are they? Whoop. Capricorn comes from Capri, meaning goat, and Cornu, meaning this part of the goat. I think that's enough Jeopardy for now. It's a bit repetitive after a while. Although, pretty pleased with how I did, because I didn't expect to get that many. Although, looking at it, I've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 16 different versions of Jeopardy. I'll probably filter those out as well at some point. I think what I'll do is when I prep for the next stream, which will possibly be next Monday, I don't know yet. I'm not really set on a specific schedule. I'll make sure I've tidied up a lot of duplicates and things like that. Madden 96. I really played a Madden game. I guess someone asked what are advertisements and you answered a paper, then I just had them for the first time. They might feel like that was a bad answer. Yes. And also with Jeopardy then as a game, it kind of loses the unique concept of Jeopardy when it pre-populates the question part for you. Although it would be annoying if you have to type what is, what are. So Madden. American football. I know of John Madden. I know that the Super Bowl exists. We'll just do a short game. Is that 20 real time minutes? Exhibition. I will go. That's a Green Day then. Detroit, Denver, Dallas. All Madden. Does that mean they're all from the game, or that's all? You've got like what 20 John Madden players. We'll go Minnesota because I like the accent. Versus San Francisco. Those nerds. Captain calls it in the air. Come on, heads. Oh, no. I like that they've added a shadow to the ball, but it doesn't really look like a shadow. What is going on? 46-yard kick returned by number 8. Oh, I didn't even get a chance to read. So, if there are any of you guys watching who are familiar with American football, then you'll probably understand what all this means. As someone who isn't, this is how I imagine people who watch programmers feel, because this is a mess of pixels. Yeah, I think this one's a pass. How many Madden games have I got? 3, 6, 7, 14. About 20 different Madden games. Might need to do some tidying on the old library. It's the wrong. There we go. Terminator 2, the arcade game. I love Terminator 2, the arcade game, but I'm going to play it anyway. Another one available at the Berry Arcade Club with the proper gun and everything. Although I'm fuming because when last time I played it, I got to right near the end and it gets impossibly hard. Obviously, because arcade games in those days were designed to take your money. All I know about American football is from team movies and feels like a lot of talking and very little playing. That's probably about as much as I know as well. And I know about CTE. That's probably my knowledge. A lot of them go into wrestling as well. A lot of ex-American football players go into wrestling, probably because of the size. The Rock Corner. Those first two Terminator movies are so good. And the second one as well. Like, I love the first one. I probably prefer the first one, but the second one, the fact that people often have the debate of a sequel being as good or better than the original, that does not happen very often. Obviously, usually the sequel's way worse. In 1997. What was I doing in 1997? Cool. I think we had a Terminator game on the Genesis at my grandma's, like I mentioned earlier, and it always used to terrify me because you'd have the T1000s, like, or T800s, whichever ones these are. They'd like pop up at the screen, and it used to terrify me as a kid. I feel like standing behind a row of people shooting and then just blindly firing is not the wisest idea. And I love that some of the robots just... Well, not the robots. The cybernetic organisms. I love that they walk behind... There he goes. Just wanders behind the row of dudes. Doesn't go for them. Goes for me. Oh no, my gun powers. Is there a quick way I can... Look how difficult this was. A lot harder as well when you don't have the gun to direct aim. I was considering getting a light gun recently. There's a company, I can't think what they're called, and they've just done a like an emulated light gun you can get. I think it's pretty pricey. It's must be about $120 or something. I thought about getting one because there are some great light gun games, and I know that I think that Sarah has just added some compatibility for light gun games. I know a few other things have as well. I think RetroPup might possibly launch box as well. Maybe RetroArch has as well. So I know there's in the controller settings there's options for like gun configs and stuff. They have got a lot of faith that I'll save those people. Yeah, I might look into those products as well. Update as well for the channel with regards to reviewing products is I've had a few sent to me so far for review, and they're not bad products, but when I've been emailing back and forth with the marketing people or whoever they are, they're always very polite. Oh, I got terminated. They're always very nice, always very polite. But I did I had a microphone one, which was it's over there somewhere. Okay, there, mates. Hey, Paul. The microphone I reviewed about a month ago, that video did not do well at all. And then I did this headset actually the other day, this Numbo headset, and that was good. Like the headset itself's pretty decent, and that did, I think it's on like 30 views. And it's one of those where like I get it, because unless you're searching for a specific brand of headset, then you're not really gonna go looking, are you? And even so, usually like it's like a 15, 20 quid headset. You get off Amazon, you'll see it and go, oh, I'll try that one out. Probably not something you go to YouTube for. And I've got a couple of accessories for the Switch 2 as well, which is always very funny. So if you've never, I think we'll close out T2 for now. We'll go for another half hour or so, and then we'll call it an evening. But for those of you who, if any of you do YouTube or things like that, so what happens is, so people reach out to me via email and they say, "Oh, we love your content," and you go, "Yeah, cool." But you can always tell that it's obviously like a cut and paste marketing email, because I had one of them where it was, "Oh, we love your content. We love your," I think it was like unboxing videos, and I was like, I've never done an unboxing video in my life. Like, I didn't know people still did those. And there was this one. I had one that was in Spanish for some. Can't remember what it was. Some dodgy app to apparently reduce your ping speed, which unless you're an internet provider, not really much you can do. And I'm not a software I'm comfortable putting my name on. But I had these people email me, and it was about some Switch 2 accessories. And one of them's like a controller grip, and then one of them is a cable to you, rather than have the big dock, you can plug in a single cable, and it's supposed to do video out and also charging. And they're not bad products, they seem alright. I've not tried the cable yet, but the grip's pretty good. I know Jess has been playing a lot of Pokopia, and she prefers that grip rather than the normal one. Is pretty terrible. You're right, girl. Up, better. Mummy gone downstairs. You'll come up here for a bit. Say hello. Come. I always get so confused when we're not like just sat down in bed. Like she's always a bit. That'll do. She always gets very kind of confused. Is that the pup? Yes, it is the pup. Well, she's gone now. She's wandered off over there. She's gone to the other room. Yeah, the product isn't in line with your niche. Probably not going to do so well. No, so there's that, and then because I'd said to them, because so they contact you, and in this case, they said, "Oh, we love your content, all that," and they said, "I said, yeah, fine, I'm happy to have a chat," and they went, "Oh, we have you got a Switch 2? Because we noticed you've not done any Switch 2 content." Okay, so why are you reaching out to me if I've not done any Switch 2 content? Well, I do have a Switch 2. Don't really use it much until Pokopia came out. It was gathering dust. But what I've decided, well, I'll do these because I said I would, and I want to keep a good reputation amongst Chinese accessory developers. But for future content, the only full reviews will be consoles, whether that's retro consoles or modern handheld PCs, whatever it is. Just something more in depth where I've got more to say about it than, hey, it's a pair of headphones. That is the headphones. You know what headphones are. Do they sound good? Are they reasonably priced? That's all you need to know. Speaking of that, I did try and reach out to some companies, and I got a lot of rejections, and I got some kind of not rejection, but no, it was more like a yeah, we'll be in touch in like future campaigns and stuff. So I need to approach AYN because I feel like I've surely help us out. Like, I'll take a review unit for your Thor 2 or whatever comes out next. But yeah, it's going to be a while before the Switch 2's retro. Although, seeing how quickly people are calling things retro that are from my childhood, maybe it's not as soon as you think. Maybe it's sooner than you think, I should say. Next game. Spy vs. Spy, Operation Booby Trap. How weird is that? For those of you just joining us, I mentioned Spy vs. Spy a while ago. I think when I was talking about that Tom and Jerry game I started with that was not great. I must say, I do like how these Game Boy games look. I always thought I just assumed they'd be terrible on a blown up screen, but I have enabled inch to scaling, so they should look alright. Operation Booby Trap. So for Spy vs. Spy, all you have to do is collect all 5 items in the attaché case. Get the first attaché case. Without this case, you can only carry 1 item. You'll be shown how to use the trap. You have to like lay traps for the other spy. And I don't think I've ever beat a level on this game, and I've played it a few times. I've never seen a Game Boy game with a full tutorial like this either. Unless you count that guy in Pokemon who shows you how to catch a Pokemon. Which always annoys me, that you can't skip it. Must be set in the Wombles universe. They do look a bit like Wombles. The long faces. Legacy of Kain playthrough when? If it comes up, I'll play it. Although there is a new Legacy of Kain game. Apparently it's dreadful. Ascension? Ascendance? Something like that. It looks awful. It's like a pixel art platformer. Oh. Did I put the bomb in there or did I pick the bomb out? Whoa. Right, I'm getting my ass kicked here. What? Punch out it is not. How do I come back to life? I don't like this reaction cam that popped up there when the guy laughing. Oh. Have I walked into my own... I've walked into my own trap. Spy versus spy, not spy versus I. Oh, there we go. So it showed me how to use the trap, so I've got that bit down. Why? Look how hard these games were. I know there's a lot of people who talk about difficulty in games. And people say, like, games too easy. And they are, to an extent. But it's because games back in the day were too hard. I don't... Why have you got to pop up and taunt me? Nope. I think it was me hitting fast forward by mistake. Whee! There we go. How'd you like that? Revenge. And we're out of time. That's Spy vs. Spy. The Game Boy version is not great. The original game's not great, but it's kind of fun. Go back and do your job. Again. I mean, you saw what I did of it last time. I think at this point, it's a performance improvement plan. Or just straight up fired. What's next? Last Action Hero. I love Last Action Hero. Never played the game, though. This is like a Arnie movie from the early 90s. But it was kind of a bit more self-aware. And I don't think it did too well when it came out. Because it was kind of like a parody of the earlier Arnie movies. Who hides in a bin throwing bombs? And there's like 4 police cars, and I've seen 1 copper. Oh. So this is only on a single plane. Why is everyone wearing jeans as well? Levi's are making a killing in Last Action Hero. Oh, that's a little smiley face. How do I... Oh, have I got full health? Is that why? You must be the boss. You got your shirt open. And a gun. Probably should have used the gun. Absolutely flattened him. Spy agencies wouldn't bother with a pit. They're taking a mission but don't expect to come back from. Yeah, I don't know if that's... I think that's complicit with employment law. Like, whoa, you knew the risks. Right. You know what? At the moment what's been happening is a lot of companies have been making people go back to the office full time as a way, as like to get them to leave to reduce headcount costs. Spies do the same thing, it's just a little bit more extreme. I want to kick. Why are all these dudes just squatted on the edge of the building, facing away? There's also there's 2 police icons at the top. I don't know what they mean. There's a fist icon. Don't know what that means. It's out of focus and I've missed the end. Never mind, take this and come back later. Danny falls asleep in class. He has his own ideas of how Hamlet should be. He dreams. We are racing through the plot at a breakneck speed. I need to rewatch Last Action Hero. It's been a while. I haven't watched too much lately, to be fair. I've been watching The Pit. The Pit's great. Last Starfighter. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah, I've been watching The Pit, which is a medical drama with Noah Wiley from ER. It's absolutely fantastic. So I think if you're in the UK, it's just come to HBO Max. I think we've just got that over here. Or if you know how to use the internet, you can do what I do and run a media server. Don't remember Arnie fighting knights. I haven't seen Last Action Hero for a while. I don't remember that scene either. Yeah, The Pit's excellent. One thing I have thought about doing, just as an aside, is so I have a Synology, which is a network-attached storage device, and from it I run a Plex server. So it uses Docker containers, which are very, very they're not very complex, they're just a bit awkward. Ways to run self-hosted apps from. So one of the things I want to explore in a future video is ROM, which is it's a way to host a ROM library, and I know that the Thor has some apps where you can download straight to it, and there's also one on, I think, MuOS on Ambonic devices, Mustard OS. It has the is a new one just come out, what's it called? Grunt? I can't remember. Is a little app, and basically it allows you to have your own ROM library, and you can just download the game straight to the device on the go. And I know people have been asking for the guides, and I've seen a lot of people mention it. But to get it to run on Windows, you'd have to use Docker, and Docker can be quite complicated. So I've been trying to find a way to do it in the most user-friendly possible way, but it took me long enough to set it up. So it's something I do intend to do a video on, but it's probably going to be a while away, that one. In this world, the bad guys can win. I imagine that's most worlds. Alright, got 15 minutes left, so we'll do one more. Unless it's another Japanese chess game, in which case we'll do a couple more. Taz in Escape from Mars on the Sega Genesis. I played this one? I'm sure I played a Taz game when I was a kid. I do love Marvin the Martian as well. I used to be able to do quite a good impression of Martian the Martin. The Q-32 explosive space modulator. Or whatever he said. This era of graphics is just gorgeous, like that pixel art. Rare earth creatures. Seeing as he's in the chat, actually, my brother, if he's still here. Speaking of Taz, he was a kid, maybe 3 or 4 years old. He had this plushy Taz figure. When you squeeze it, it used to vibrate like as though he was spinning around, and he'd go and do Taz noises. And Matt was sat on the sofa, and he's only about 3. Doing what 3-year-olds do, like messing about on the sofa. My mum was tidying up, and I know you remember, which is a surprise considering you could have had a concussion. And he wanted this Taz toy that was on the floor, so my mum grabbed it, threw it. It bounced on the sofa, clean, straight in the face, massive black eye. I thought it was funny. He didn't. Whoa. I thought I'd enabled the... That's a cool mechanic, that wall jumping. Box of Ock. Oh, rocks. Could have been anything. They knew what they were doing. Okay, you got a nice bit of perspective there. We hide behind the crystal balls, whatever they're supposed to be. Someone just left the burger. There were some really cool, like Looney Tunes games that did come on when licensed games used to be a thing. Especially on the PS1, there was it Time Busters with Bugs Bunny and Taz? There was a Bugs Bunny one that was really good on PS1. There's also Sheepdog and Wolf, I think it was called over here, but I think it was called Sheep Raiders in the US. That was kind of like a puzzly one. That was excellent. I might start doing some more dedicated console streams rather than just messing about with random games. Because there's an absolute plethora of classic games out there, and it always I always get quite annoyed because if you Google, you get a device like the Thor, or you start getting into emulation. The first thing you do is you Google that what are the best games for these consoles? Oh, we're massive, but we can't spin anymore. That's a shame. Mechanics, gameplay balance. So you Google what's the best games, and it's always the same lists. And even those ones that say, like, if you were to Google, like, oh, obscure games or classic or underrated gems, it all ends up being the same stuff, and it's always pretty popular. And it's not that interesting. Whereas I think I like to showcase, there's a lot of relatively obscure games that I really like, especially on the PS1. Ninja Shadow of Darkness, No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, Trash It, I really like. There's all sorts there. Z, or Z, which is like a kind of Command and Conquer type game. And they don't get the love they deserve. Why can't I... How do I get down there? I mean, just being able to bounce off everything is cool. Although I can't go up there. Oh, I can spit stuff. I didn't know I could do that. It's not helping me in this scenario, but it's good to... Oh. Oh. Apparently if you hold down. Should have guessed. It's quite cool, because I do actually remember a lot of these for off the episodes of Looney Tunes I used to watch as a kid. I think ChatGPT is good for recommending games. I explained what I like and gave some examples of games I did and didn't like, and it seems to be pretty good at recommending ones I like. You see, stuff like that, and I think, like anything, with... I like I said before, I've used AI in the past. My original pup logo, which you might have noticed is the new one. The original pup was ChatGPT. I just wanted a quick logo. I started posting the videos. I needed something. And, I said it was like Sonic. It was just like a placeholder. But I really liked the logo. And then I'd reached out to an artist through VGen recently. And he designed another logo. And it's alright, but it's not... I really like this little pup. So instead, I went through... I just asked on Reddit in the pixel art subreddit, because they have like a kind of jobs board. And I just said, I've got this logo, it's AI, it's got the AI artifacting on it. But I like the initial design, so I want to like have someone redraw it. Some dude from Poland got in touch, who did an absolutely awesome job. He redrew it all. He'd sent me all the files, it's all the A-Sprite files I've got. He'd animated it for me, and it just did such great work. The text... The RetroPup text comes from the other artists, so I really like that. That's a great job as well. And I'm always in favour of supporting artists, especially now being partnered with YouTube and earning a bit of money. It's like I'll put that money towards getting some better lighting or getting a logo, getting some artwork done. Probably once I start doing more streams, getting some custom overlays, things like that. But I've seen how much people overuse AI for things like that don't really require it. And as someone who uses it fairly often when it comes to programming at work, it's a nightmare. So I use Microsoft Power Apps a lot, which is quite a low code software. It's part of the Microsoft platform, but you still build them yourself. And you'd think that so we use Copilot at work. Get in there. We use Copilot at work, and you think that with it being an official Microsoft thing and it being a Microsoft product, that it'd have all the official Microsoft documentation embedded. And I'm asking it stuff. I'm like, I've got this function, it's not working, where have I gone wrong? And it gives me... I've gone the wrong way, that was a checkpoint. The information it gives me is incorrect. For example, there's a sort function, so you can sort a list. So, for example, we've got a list of train parts, so I want to sort them. And then sometimes you wrap the sort in a filter, and it can get quite unreadable. And especially if you've got multiple filter criteria. And I'd put my code into ChatGPT. It's obfuscated. There's no like link to any actual data in there. And I said, I've got this function, and what's going wrong with it? And I say, oh, your sort function should be ascending. And I'm like, no, it should be sort order dot ascending, because that's the parameter. And then it does that thing where it goes, oh, you're absolutely right. Here's the fixed code, and it gives you the exact same code. But because I know what it gives me is wrong and what can be right and can be wrong, and I can read the code it spits out, that's always the advantage. And that's why I think that once the AI bubble bursts, which seems like it's happening quite soon, the real uses are going to be in the tech sector and the software sector, which is what it should have been intended for originally. because it's miles better than Stack Overflow or having to ask questions. I've asked it some dumb questions before. I've got halfway through typing a question to ChatGPT and then realised exactly what I've done wrong. So that's it's a scary world we live in when how overzealous people are with using AI. I see so many comedy posters for like little open mics where they've used ChatGPT, and I'm like, it just looks terrible. Like, it doesn't need to be fancy. I think I got quite lucky with the original AI art logo that I got for RetroPup, because I've seen the quality, and I was going to do a RetroRoulette one. And I said, oh, can you do like a quick little logo just for RetroRoulette? And what it gave me, I was like, that looks terrible. I don't want that at all. So I've just decided to be as kind of minimalist as possible with my stream overlays and layouts and that sort of thing. This game is difficult. But how good are these graphics? I will say, I think of all the games I've played today, I think Turok has been the best. Considering it's on the Game Boy, the animation is awesome, and the music was banging as well. Although I'd seem to have developed a penchant for falling down pits. Although luckily these ones don't kill me. So I can't. Wish I could double jump. Oh. They don't like the bars and everything. It's not very indicative of where to go. I find with images the most frustrating thing is when it's 90% there. Yeah, so that's basically what I had with RetroPup. And truth be told, I don't know if anyone knew it was AI, but in the interest of full disclosure, I thought I'll tell people it's AI. And the plan was always to, once I'd had a bit of money or I'd earned a bit of money, to get it redrawn or get a new proper logo developed. And just when the dude sent me the newer versions, automatically, like, he's redrawn the little AI handheld into proper Game Boy Advance, because he'd messaged me and said, oh, what do you want it to be? Like, do you want me to do like an NES controller? I was like, oh, I could do like a little Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance maybe. And then he sent me back that, and I was like, that looks great. And then the little animation, all I've done to the animation is added the ping pong, so it goes backwards and forward, and then I've just added a frame at the start, just so it's static. Just because I didn't want it constantly looping, but I quite like that it's static, and then it kind of, I think every like 10 seconds it just runs back and forth and then stops, and then just something I like. So I think we'll leave it there for today, so I'll just quit out of this, because I'm getting a little bit hungry. So that was the first RetroRoulette RetroPup stream. So appreciate anyone who's tuned in. Like I said, this will be, I have been recording it locally as well, so this will be uploaded to YouTube once I've just made sure the formatting's okay. And yeah, I don't know when I'll be doing these streams. They will be regular. I just need to kind of look at my schedule and then go from there. If you're not part of the Discord or you're not seeing my YouTube channel, if anyone has joined from just randomly browsing Twitch, then you can find me on YouTube at RetroPup. I also have a Discord. I think they are all linked on the Twitch page. They should be. If they're not, then I've got some work to do. Congratulations on the stream and the first spam bot. Yeah, we had our first spam bot. So that's, I can put that up there with my first hate comment as well. As moments where it truly cements the fact that, oh, well, this is me now. I'm going to be an elite Twitch streamer. So it won't be long before I start running crypto scams. And Louis Theroux's probably going to ask me loads of questions about my opinions on women. So, yeah, thanks very much. And if you've got any kind of feedback, then there's obviously those channels you can reach. And like I said, this will be on YouTube for those of you who missed it, although you won't currently be watching it now, so this is kind of redundant. But yeah, thanks always for your support. And yeah, I will see you next time. Now, normally I do a fade out here, but I've not not planned one. So yeah, see you soon.